What if just 5 simple habits could completely reshape the way you live, think, and feel? What if the heaviness in your chest, the restless nights, the endless overthinking could all begin to fade away with the smallest shifts in your daily life? So many of us wake up already tired. We drag our bodies through the day, searching for peace but finding only stress. We lie down at night with our minds racing, wondering why life feels so chaotic, so out of balance. Have you ever whispered to yourself, there has to be more than this? Here's the truth. Monks are not superhuman. They feel tired too. They face distraction too. But what sets them apart are not grand miracles. It's habits, quiet, consistent practices woven into each day. And here's the promise. These are not abstract ideas you can't reach. These are steps you can begin right now, no matter your age, no matter your circumstances. Because peace is not reserved for temples. It can live in your bedroom, in your kitchen, in the way you walk down the street. By the end of this video, you will know 5 monk habits that have carried countless lives from chaos to clarity. 5 practices that, if you dare to try, will never let your life remain the same again. So I invite you, stay until the very end. And more than that, choose one habit and begin today. Because your transformation does not wait for tomorrow. It begins now. Habit 1. Sleep with intention, wake with clarity. The way you sleep decides how you wake, and how you wake decides how you live. Think about the last night you tossed and turned in bed, replaying conversations, worrying about tomorrow, scrolling endlessly on your phone until your eyes hurt. How did you feel the next morning? Heavy, foggy, like life was already against you before you even stood up. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine closing your eyes with calm, your breath steady, your mind soft. Your last thought a gentle blessing instead of a burning worry. The morning sun rises and you rise with it, not dragged by exhaustion, but lifted by clarity. This is not fantasy. This is a habit. Monks have a simple rhythm: sleep early, wake. In many monasteries, the lights go out by 10 p.m., and by 4 a.m., the bell rings for morning chanting. There is no television, no scrolling through endless distractions, no mind buzzing with the noise of the outside world. Sleep is treated not as an escape from life, but as a preparation for it. Your last thought at night is your first thought in the morning. The Buddha once said that the mind is like a garden. Whatever seed you plant before sleep will be the first thing to grow when you wake. If you go to bed angry, you water the seeds of anger. If you go to bed with gratitude, you wake with peace already blooming. How many of us go to bed carrying unfinished battles? We lie down, but we are not resting. We are arguing in our heads, planning revenge, regretting mistakes, or worrying about bills. No wonder mornings feel so heavy. We didn't sleep. We rehearsed our suffering all night long. Monks train themselves differently. Before bed, they sit in meditation, even for just a few minutes. They let go of the day like setting down a heavy bag. They breathe, they forgive, they soften their hearts, and in that stillness, they hand over their problems to the night. You don't need to carry today's weight into tomorrow. There's a Zen story of a master and his student walking through a muddy path. They met a woman who could not cross, so the master carried her across. Hours later, the student asked, "Why did you do that? We monks should not touch women." The master smiled and said, "I left her at the river hours ago. Why are you still carrying her?" This is how most of us treat our worries. We carry them long after the moment has passed. And worst of all, we carry them into our sleep. But sleep is meant to be release, not rehearsal. If you sleep with chaos, you will wake with chaos. If you sleep with peace, you will wake with peace. Practical wisdom is simple. Set a consistent bedtime, no matter your age. Treat it as sacred. Dim the lights, put away the screens, and give your mind space to soften. Spend 5 minutes in silence. Close your eyes, breathe. Imagine placing each worry on a leaf and watching it float down a river. Then lie down with gratitude for one small thing in your day. It will not be perfect at first. You might still stare at the ceiling, restless. That is okay. Every night is practice. Some nights the mind will fight, but if you are patient, it will learn. Just as a child eventually rests in the arms of a mother, your restless mind will learn to rest when you offer it compassion. And when you wake, wake with purpose. Do not reach for your phone. Do not drag yesterday into today. Sit up slowly, breathe deeply, and ask yourself, what is the intention of this day? Even one clear word, peace, kindness, patience, can become the compass of your morning. If you master your nights and mornings, you master your life. Because in truth, life is nothing more than a collection of mornings and nights. If you heal those two gates each day, the hours in between will naturally follow. So begin tonight. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until your schedule clears. Simply decide, I will sleep with intention. I will wake with clarity. That is the first monk habit. And once you taste the peace it brings, you will never want to go back to the old way again. Habit 2, move the body, strengthen the mind. Without a strong body, your spirit cannot rise. How many mornings have you woken up with your back aching, your knees stiff, your energy already drained before the day has even begun? We live in a time where our bodies are slowly breaking down, not because of age alone, but because of neglect. We sit for hours at desks, slouch over phones, drive cars instead of walking, and then wonder why our minds feel heavy and our hearts restless. A still body becomes a prison, but a moving body becomes a temple. Monks understand this truth deeply. Their path is not just about training the mind, but caring for the body that carries it. In the monastery, sweeping the ground, walking mindfully, or stretching in the early morning is not exercise in the modern sense. It is devotion. It is a way of keeping the vessel of the spirit pure and strong. I once heard of a monk who openly admitted, "I don't love exercising." People were surprised. Wasn't discipline supposed to make it effortless? But the monk smiled and said, "It's not about love, it's about duty. This body is not mine. It is a gift. And gifts must be cared for." Discipline begins where preference ends. When you treat exercise as a duty, not a luxury, something shifts. You no longer wait for motivation, because motivation is fickle. Instead, you move because life itself depends on it. Just as you brush your teeth without question, you walk, you stretch, you breathe deeply. Not to sculpt a body for admiration, but to strengthen the house of your spirit. Buddhism often teaches that the body and the mind are not two separate realms, but two sides of one coin. If the body is weak, the mind struggles to sit in stillness. If the body is tense, the breath becomes shallow and meditation collapses. The Buddha himself advised monks to walk meditation when sitting was too difficult, knowing that the flow of the body clears the stagnation of the mind. The river stays pure because it flows. The body stays alive because it moves. Think of water that stands still. It rots, it attracts insects, it becomes foul. But water that moves remains fresh, vibrant, life-giving. Our bodies are the same. Stagnation invites decay, but movement invites renewal. Every step you take is a rebellion against decay. Every stretch is a whisper to your cells, I choose life. For those who feel too tired, too old, or too broken, remember this: monks do not run marathons. They do not lift heavy weights in gyms. Their exercise is gentle, almost invisible to outsiders. A slow walk under the morning sun, stretching the arms like branches of a tree, breathing deeply with each motion. It is not intensity that matters, it is consistency. Don't chase perfection, chase rhythm. Imagine this: 10 minutes of walking each day, every day without fail. 10 minutes of stretching before sleep. What is 10 minutes? Almost nothing. And yet those small minutes add up to hours, to days, to a lifetime of strength and clarity. The mind begins to look forward to movement, and laziness begins to fade away like morning mist. A Zen master once said, "When the body bows, the mind bows. When the body's upright, the mind is upright." Every push-up, every step, every bow in the temple is more than movement. It is an alignment of body and spirit. To neglect the body is to leave the temple of the mind in ruins. So I ask you, what is your body carrying today? Is it carrying pain, stiffness, fatigue? Or can you help it carry peace, lightness, and vitality? The choice begins with a single step. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one mindful step. Start tonight or tomorrow morning. Walk around your home, around your street, around a park if you have one. Walk not as someone rushing to finish, but as someone returning home to themselves. Feel your feet against the ground. Let each step remind you, I am alive, I am here, I am free to move. Because when your body moves, your spirit rises. And when your spirit rises, life itself begins to change. Habit 3, eat less, live more. The more you fill your stomach, the less space you leave for clarity. Have you ever eaten so much that instead of feeling satisfied, you felt trapped, heavy, sluggish, almost imprisoned inside your own body? We often confuse fullness with nourishment, but in reality, overeating is one of the quietest ways we drain our life energy. When the stomach is overloaded, the mind becomes cloudy. Monks know this truth well. In most monasteries, meals are simple and taken only twice a day, once in the morning and once before noon. Not because monks hate food, but because they understand food's true purpose: to sustain the body so the mind can awaken. Food is medicine, not entertainment. It is fuel, not a distraction. But in our modern lives, we eat not because we are hungry, but because we are bored, anxious, or lonely. Think of how many times you've opened the fridge, not for hunger, but for comfort. And yet the more we stuff our bodies, the emptier our hearts feel. We eat to fill the stomach, but what we're trying to fill is the soul. There is a Zen teaching: when hungry, eat; when tired, sleep. Simple, direct. But we have complicated it. We eat when we are sad, when we celebrate, when we scroll our phones. We turn food into escape, and in doing so, we bury our clarity under layers of indulgence. In Thailand, new monks are trained to eat from a single bowl. At first, they pile the bowl with all kinds of food: sweet, salty, spicy, because the eyes and the tongue crave variety. But soon they realize the bowl deceives them. Too much food and they fall into a food coma, unable to meditate, unable to think clearly. Slowly they learn the purpose of eating is not pleasure, it is balance. The more you chase taste, the further you drift from peace. Overeating does not just affect the body, it poisons the mind. A heavy meal drags the spirit down, making sitting in the stillness almost impossible. You know this already. How often after a feast do you feel clear, awake, inspired? Rarely, instead you feel sleepy, irritable, and numb. This is not living, it is surviving in a fog. But moderation changes everything. Eating on time, eating just enough creates space inside the body, and with that space comes lightness in the mind. When the stomach is calm, the spirit has room to rise. When you eat less, you don't live with less. You live with more clarity, more energy, more freedom. Here is a practical way to begin. Before you eat, pause for just one moment and ask, do I need this or do I just want it? That small question is a gatekeeper between habit and awareness. Sometimes the answer is yes, you truly need nourishment. Other times you will see it as only restlessness disguised as hunger. That awareness alone is transformation. The Buddha once compared desire to salt water. The more you drink, the thirstier you become. Food works the same way. The more you indulge, the less satisfied you feel. But when you learn to stop before excess, something shifts. You taste food more deeply. Gratitude blooms. Life feels lighter. Hunger passes, but clarity stays. So try this. Serve yourself less than you usually do. Eat slowly. When you feel 70% full, stop. Notice how your body thanks you, how your energy remains steady, how your mind feels sharper. This is not punishment, it is liberation. Because the truth is, eating less is not about denial. It is about freedom. Freedom from cravings that enslave us. Freedom from the fog of overindulgence. Freedom to live with a body that supports, not sabotages, the spirit. Eat less, live more. It is one of the simplest monk habits, but one of the most powerful. And if you dare to practice it, you will discover that clarity tastes better than any feast. Habit 4. Keep your space sacred, keep your mind clear. A cluttered room is a cluttered mind. Look around your space right now. Are there clothes scattered on the floor, dishes left in the sink, papers piled on the desk? It may seem harmless, just another messy day. But deep down, you know what happens. The moment you walk into that clutter, your chest feels heavier, your mind grows noisier, and suddenly even the smallest task feels overwhelming. When your surroundings are in chaos, your thoughts will never sit still. Monks are trained to understand this truth from the very first day. The moment a new monk wakes up, the first duty is not chanting, not meditation. It is making the bed, folding the blanket neatly, placing the pillow exactly where it belongs. Every corner of the room must be in order. Why? Because outer order shapes inner stillness. There is a story of a monk who once lived in a small hut deep in the forest. His hut was bare, just a mat, a bowl, a robe. A visitor once asked, "Master, why do you keep so little?" The monk replied, "Because each thing I own also owns a piece of my mind, and I want my mind to be free." Every object you keep untended is a chain tied to your thoughts. Think about your own life. How often, when you feel stressed, do you also notice your room is a mess? Dirty clothes pile up, drawers overflow, and the desk is buried. That is not a coincidence. The environment reflects the mind, and the mind reflects the environment. When your outside world is cluttered, your inner world becomes cluttered too. Psychologists today echo what Zen masters taught centuries ago. Chaos around you feeds chaos within you. The brain struggles to focus when surrounded by disorder. Stress hormones rise. Decisions become harder. Even breathing feels tighter. Your bedroom can be either your sanctuary or your battlefield. The monastery teaches discipline in the smallest acts. After meals, monks wash every dish, dry it, and place it back where it belongs. Not because they fear punishment, but because they understand. If you cannot put away a spoon, how will you ever put away your restless thoughts? If you cannot clear a table, how will you clear the storms of your heart? It may sound simple, even trivial, but try this yourself. Tomorrow morning, make your bed. Smooth the sheets, align the pillows, and notice how that one act of order sparks a sense of calm. One small victory over chaos. That is the seed of discipline. Small acts of order ripple into great waves of peace. There is also deep symbolism in keeping space clean. In Zen, the act of sweeping is not about dust. It is about sweeping the mind. Each stroke of the broom is a stroke across the surface of your thoughts. As the floor clears, so too does the heart. This is why monks sweep even clean floors. It is less about the dirt, more about the discipline of clarity. In your own life, you may not wear robes or live in a temple, but you can treat your home as sacred. Your desk, your bedroom, your kitchen. These are not just places, they are mirrors of your mind. When you keep them clean, you honor not only your space, but your spirit. Clear the space around you, and you will discover space within you. So begin small. Start with one act. Make your bed, wash your cup, fold one shirt. Let each act remind you that your mind deserves the same clarity. Because when your space is sacred, your mind becomes a sanctuary. And when your mind is a sanctuary, life itself feels lighter. Habit 5. Meditate like it's a daily shower. Your body needs a shower every day, so does your mind. Think about it. Would you go a week without bathing? Of course not. You know the dirt would cling to your skin, the odor would grow, and you would feel uncomfortable in your own body. Yet every day we allow our minds to collect dust, anger, fear, regrets, overthinking, and we do nothing to cleanse them. We live with a dirty mind and then wonder why life feels so heavy. A restless mind unwashed will always bleed into restless days. This is why monks meditate daily. For them, meditation is not a luxury, it is hygiene. Just as brushing teeth prevents decay, meditation prevents the decay of the spirit. It sweeps away the dirt of worry, wipes off the stains of anger, and clears the fog of confusion. A Zen saying is, do not just sweep the floor, sweep the mind. Meditation is that sweeping. Each breath becomes the broom. Each moment of stillness is like water washing away the grime of thought. If you don't clear your mind, yesterday's storm becomes today's burden. Think of how most of us fall asleep. We lie down with our phones glowing in our faces, our heads stuffed with arguments, unfinished tasks, and anxieties about tomorrow. We close our eyes, but inside we are still awake, planning, worrying, fighting. No wonder we wake up tired. We never truly rested. In the monastery, it is different. Before sleep, monks close their eyes for a few minutes of meditation. They let the day go. They forgive. They place their burdens down, the way a traveler sets down a heavy bag. And so they sleep not in worry, but in peace. The Buddha taught, the mind is everything. What you think, you become. If your last thought before bed is fear, you wake in fear. If your last thought is peace, you wake in peace. Your last thought at night is your first thought in the morning. I remember a story of a monk who once struggled with insomnia. Each night he lay awake, caught in a storm of thoughts. His teacher told him, don't fight the thoughts. Watch them the way you watch clouds pass in the sky. The monk began to sit quietly before bed, breathing slowly, simply watching his thoughts float by. Soon his nights became calm. He realized the problem was not sleeplessness. It was carrying the weight of the day into the night. Meditation before sleep is like washing the glass of your mind. Suddenly you see again. You don't need hours to begin. Start with 5 minutes. Sit on your bed. Close your eyes. Breathe in deeply. Breathe out slowly. Each breath is a wave washing the shore of your mind. Each exhale is the release of something you no longer need. And if thoughts come, let them. Don't fight. Just let them drift away, like leaves floating on a river. Gradually, you can expand. 10 minutes, 15, maybe 30. But the secret is not length, it is consistency. Just as one shower keeps you clean for a day, one meditation keeps your mind clear for a day. Miss it and the dust piles up. Do it daily and peace becomes natural. Stillness is not the absence of life. It is the ground where true life grows. So tonight, before you close your eyes, ask yourself, will I take my problems into my sleep, or will I take peace? The choice is yours. Meditation is the shower your mind has been waiting for. Practice it, and soon you'll realize it's not just your nights that change, it's your mornings, your days, your life. Your life doesn't change in a single leap. It changes in small, steady steps. We have walked together through 5 simple monk habits: sleeping with intention, moving the body, eating with moderation, keeping your space sacred, and meditating like it's a daily shower. At first glance, they seem ordinary, but look closer, and you see they are the roots of extraordinary transformation. When you master your nights and mornings, your days follow. When you master your body and mind, your life follows. The beauty of these habits is that you don't need to abandon your world to practice them. You don't have to shave your head, move into a monastery, or renounce your life. You simply begin where you are, with one choice, one step. There is a Zen tale of a student who asked his master, "How do I find enlightenment?" The master handed him a broom and said, "Sweep." The student swept. The master said again, "Sweep." Days passed and the student grew frustrated. "Why do you keep telling me to sweep?" The master smiled. "Because the dust on the floor is the same dust clouding your mind. Clear one, and you clear both." Transformation is not in the grand gesture, it's in the quiet repetition of wisdom. So I ask you, which of these 5 habits will you begin today? Will you start by making your bed, by walking for 10 minutes, by pausing before you eat, by setting down your phone at night, or by closing your eyes for just 5 minutes of stillness? Choose one. Share it in the comments. Let this be the seed you plant today. And if you wish to keep walking this path of clarity and peace, subscribe and stay close. Because when you live like a monk, even in small ways, life will never be the same again.